Marcus Chen's hands were so numb he couldn't feel the zipper anymore. 90 seconds. That's all he had before the 3-year-old girl in the locked car stopped breathing. Her lips had gone from pink to blue to gray. Through the frost-covered window, he watched her chest rise and fall slower with each breath. His father's military jacket was the only thing keeping him alive in -5 Chicago Christmas Eve. Take it off, and hypothermia would claim him in minutes. Keep it on, and this child dies. Marcus ripped the jacket open, smashed the car window with his bare fist, and made the choice that would unleash 180 Hell's Angels and expose the darkest child trafficking network Illinois had ever seen. Subscribe to our channel and stay until the end to see how one freezing night triggered a reckoning that brought down a criminal empire. Comment below what city you're watching from, so we can see how far this story travels. The emergency room doors of Northwestern Memorial Hospital burst open at 11:47 p.m. on December 24, 2023. Marcus Chen collapsed face first onto the polished floor, his arms still locked around a small bundle wrapped in a navy blue military jacket, 4 sizes too large for the child inside. Dr. Sarah Mitchell had been a trauma physician for 17 years. She'd worked Christmas Eves in Chicago's busiest ER since 2006. She'd seen hypothermia, frostbite, exposure deaths. She thought she'd seen everything. She was wrong. "Get me 2 gurneys, now!" Sarah's voice cut through the holiday chaos of the waiting room. "Severe hypothermia, 2 patients, 1 pediatric." Nurse Rodriguez, no relation to the child, though that coincidence would haunt him later, reached Marcus first. The boy's skin had gone from pale to grayish white. His core temperature would later register at 91.3 degrees Fahrenheit. At 90 degrees, the heart stops. He'd been maybe 15 minutes from death. "Can't let go," Marcus whispered through chattering teeth. His arms were locked so tight around the child that his muscles had gone into involuntary spasm. "She's freezing. Help her first." "Son, we need to help you both." Rodriguez tried to pry Marcus's arms loose. They wouldn't budge. The cold had literally frozen his muscles in protective position around the little girl. Sarah knelt beside them, her trained eyes taking in details that would matter later. The boy wore thin jeans, a torn gray hoodie, boots so oversized they were stuffed with newspaper that had spilled out when he fell. No gloves, no hat. His fingertips showed old frostbite damage, white scarring that meant this wasn't his first time nearly freezing to death. The child in his arms whimpered. A good sign. She was conscious. "Warm blankets, heat packs, and get me the thermal scanner," Sarah ordered. She touched the boy's face gently. "Marcus, right? That's what your dog tags say. I'm Dr. Mitchell. You did something incredibly brave, but now you need to let us help her. Can you do that?" Something in her voice, maybe the fact that she'd called him by name, treated him like a person instead of a problem, broke through the survival fog in Marcus's brain. His arms loosened, just enough. 2 nurses lifted Emma Rodriguez free. She was wearing pink fleece pajamas with unicorns and 1 sock. Her other foot was bare. Sarah's stomach twisted. This baby had walked out of a house into -5-degree weather dressed for bed, not survival. "Core temp on the child?" Sarah called out. 94.6, Nurse Chen reported, working quickly. "Early-stage hypothermia, fingers and toes showing frostbite, responsive but confused." "And the boy?" 91.3, respiratory infection, severe, dehydration. Can't get a vein for IV, he's too malnourished." Sarah's jaw tightened. She looked at Marcus Chen, really looked at him. 16 years old according to the birth date on those dog tags. But he looked 12. Hollow cheeks, bones too prominent. eyes with dark circles so deep they looked like bruises. "How long have you been on the streets?" Sarah asked quietly while her team worked to warm him. Marcus's eyes found hers. They were dark brown, intelligent, haunted. 31 months. The number hit Sarah like a physical blow. 31 months. Nearly 3 years. This child had survived almost 3 Chicago winters, homeless, and he'd just given up his only coat. "Where did you find her?" Sarah needed to know, needed to understand. "Behind Murphy's restaurant on Randolph." Marcus's voice was getting weaker. The warming process sometimes made people drowsy as their bodies stopped fighting. "Locked in a car. Woman in the front seat, unconscious. Didn't respond when I knocked. Car was off, no heat. I broke the window." "You broke into a car?" "Had to." No apology in his voice, just fact. She was dying. Sarah's phone buzzed. She ignored it. "How did you know?" "My dad, before he died. Army Ranger. Taught me cold weather survival, signs of hypothermia. How long before?" Marcus's eyes were closing. "Before someone stops breathing." "Stay with me, Marcus." Sarah's hand was on his shoulder now, grounding him. "Your dad would be very proud of you. You saved this little girl's life." Marcus's eyes opened again, focused. "Is she okay? Really okay?" Sarah looked over at the pediatric bay where Nurse Rodriguez was wrapping Emma in heated blankets, her color already improving. "She's going to be fine because of you." "Good." Marcus's eyes closed again. This time they stayed closed. Sarah's phone buzzed again. Then again. She checked it. 7 missed calls from the same number. She answered. "This is Dr. Mitchell." "This is Vincent Rodriguez. Chicago PD called me 15 minutes ago. They said my granddaughter is at Northwestern. They said a boy found her." "Is she?" "She's stable, warming up. She's going to be okay." The sound that came through the phone was somewhere between a sob and a prayer. "Thank God. Thank God. I'm 10 minutes away." "Mr. Rodriguez, the boy who found her. He's in critical condition, hypothermia. He gave her his only jacket and carried her 8 blocks in this weather. Without it, he would have had maybe 30 minutes. He chose her life over his." Silence on the other end. Then, "What's his name?" "Marcus Chen, 16 years old. He's been homeless for 31 months. More silence. When Vincent Rodriguez spoke again, his voice had changed. Gone cold in a way that had nothing to do with temperature, and everything to do with fury that had found purpose. "That boy saved my granddaughter's life?" "Yes." "Then he's under my protection now. Nobody touches him. Nobody moves him. I'll be there in 8 minutes." The line went dead. Sarah looked at the dog tags resting on Marcus's chest. Sergeant First Class David Chen, blood type O positive, KIA, Afghanistan, March 2021. This boy had lost his father to war, lost his mother to drugs, according to the medical history he'd gasped out between treatments, and lost 31 months of his childhood to a system that should have protected him. "Dr. Mitchell," Nurse Rodriguez's voice was urgent. "The child is asking for something. She keeps saying, 'Coat boy.' I think she means him." Sarah walked over. Emma Rodriguez was wrapped in thermal blankets, her color better, her eyes clearer. She looked at Sarah with the serious expression only small children can manage. "Where's Coat boy?" Emma's voice was small but determined. "He's right over there, sweetheart. We're helping him get warm, just like we helped you." "He's cold. He gave me his coat. He needs it back." Sarah's throat tightened. We have lots of warm blankets for him. You keep that coat safe for him, okay? Emma nodded solemnly, her small hands touching the military jacket they'd left with her, because trying to take it away had made her scream. Some part of her 3-year-old brain understood that this jacket meant safety, meant the boy who'd saved her, meant she wasn't alone in that cold car anymore. The ER doors opened again. Vincent Reaper Rodriguez walked in, and Sarah understood immediately why they called him that. 6'4", 250 pounds of muscle and leather. His vest bore patches that told a story. Hell's Angels, Chicago chapter, president. Combat infantry badge. Purple Heart. A man who'd seen war and built a brotherhood on the other side of it. He moved with surprising grace for someone so large, his eyes scanning the room until they locked on the pediatric bay. On Emma. Papa! Emma's arms stretched out. Vincent crossed the space in 4 strides, scooped her up, blankets and all, and held her like she was made of glass and gold. His shoulders shook. This massive, terrifying-looking biker was crying into his granddaughter's hair. You're okay, he whispered. You're okay. Baby girl, you're okay. Coat boy saved me, Emma said into his chest. He was nice. Cold, but nice. Vincent pulled back, looked at his granddaughter's face. Coat boy? Emma pointed at Marcus's gurney. He gave me his coat, carried me, said I'd be safe. Was I safe, Papa? You were safe. Vincent's voice broke. You were so safe, baby girl. He looked at Sarah. That's him? That's Marcus. Marcus Chen. Vincent handed Emma to her mother, a woman Sarah hadn't noticed come in, younger, pretty, crying, and walked over to Marcus's bedside. He stood there for a long moment, looking down at the unconscious teenager who'd saved his granddaughter. Then Vincent Rodriguez did something Sarah had never seen a Hell's Angels president do. He knelt, dropped to one knee beside the gurney, making himself smaller, less threatening, showing respect to an unconscious child who couldn't even see the gesture. Marcus, Vincent said quietly, his hand hovering over the boy's shoulder but not quite touching. You don't know me, but you saved the most important person in my world. You gave up everything you had to save a stranger's baby. That makes you family. And family doesn't sleep on streets. He stood, pulled out his phone, and made a call. Church meeting. Now. Every brother within 50 miles. Northwestern Memorial Hospital. Emergency. Yes, now. Sarah had heard of church meetings. The Hells Angels used them to make major club decisions. Mandatory attendance. No excuses. Mr. Rodriguez, call me Reaper. Everyone does. Vincent's eyes were still on Marcus. What else is wrong with him besides hypothermia? Sarah pulled up Marcus's chart on her tablet. Severe malnutrition, chronic respiratory infection, old frostbite damage to his fingers, permanent nerve damage, dehydration, possible early-stage pneumonia, and... She hesitated. And what? Scars on his back and ribs, patterned. Someone beat this child, multiple times. The scarring is at least 18 months old. Vincent's face went stone. Who? He hasn't said. But there's something else. Sarah pulled up the notes from Marcus's initial interview. He mentioned being expelled from a group home, Lakeside Youth Services. He said the director, Gerald Harrison, threw him out for violent behavior. But Marcus said he was actually protecting younger children from abuse. Harrison. Vincent repeated the name like he was memorizing it for later. And the city believed Harrison over a 16-year-old kid? Apparently. We'll see about that. Vincent's phone buzzed. He checked it. First brothers are arriving. I need you to do something for me, Doc. What? When Marcus wakes up, you tell him he's safe. You tell him he's got 180 Hell's Angels making sure nobody ever hurts him again. And you tell him that the little girl he saved wants to see him as soon as he's strong enough. Sarah nodded. I can do that. Good. Vincent started to walk away, then turned back. One more thing. That group home Marcus mentioned, Lakeside. I want everything you can find about it. Any medical records of kids from there who came through this ER. Anything that seems off. Can you do that? That's confidential patient information. Doc. Vincent's voice was gentle but firm. A 16-year-old kid just nearly died saving my granddaughter. He's been on the streets for 31 months. He's got scars from being beaten. And he's terrified of the people who are supposed to protect children. Something is very wrong. And I've got resources to make it right, if you point me in the right direction. Sarah thought about the Hippocratic Oath. First, do no harm. She thought about Marcus Chen's hollow cheeks and old frostbite scars. She thought about a system that had failed a child so completely that he'd survived 3 Chicago winters alone. I'll see what I can find, she said quietly. Vincent nodded once, respect and acknowledgement. Then he walked out of the ER toward the parking lot, where the rumble of motorcycle engines was already beginning. Sarah turned back to Marcus. His vitals were improving, core temperature up to 93.1 degrees, heart rate steady. He'd survive. The question was, what happened next? She pulled out her tablet and started searching medical records. Lakeside Youth Services had been sending kids to Northwestern Memorial for 4 years. She filtered by facility name, started reading admission notes. The patterns emerged within 20 minutes. 37 admissions from Lakeside in 4 years. Malnutrition, untreated infections, injuries inconsistent with given explanations. One 13-year-old with a broken arm said he'd fallen downstairs. The X-ray showed a defensive fracture, the kind you get when someone hits you and you try to block it. An 11-year-old treated for pneumonia, admitted in January. No coat, no gloves. The social worker's note said the child claimed there wasn't enough heat at the facility. Temperature kept at 62 degrees to save money. The complaint was filed. Nothing came of it. A 14-year-old girl treated for malnutrition. Weight 73 pounds. Should have weighed at least 95. She told the ER physician that food was locked up, that Director Harrison controlled portions. Another complaint filed, another investigation that went nowhere. Sarah's hands shook as she compiled the records. 37 children, 4 years. Every single red flag ignored, every complaint dismissed. Someone had been protecting Harrison. She printed everything, put it in a folder, and walked outside. The parking lot had transformed. 23 motorcycles, more arriving every minute. Men in leather vests bearing the same patches, gathering in disciplined formation. No chaos, no noise, just silent, purposeful assembly. Vincent stood at the center talking on his phone. When he saw Sarah, he ended the call. "Found something?" he asked. Sarah handed him the folder. 37 children from Lakeside admitted to this ER in 4 years. Every single one showed signs of neglect or abuse. Every complaint was filed with Child Protective Services. Every investigation closed as unfounded. Vincent's jaw worked as he flipped through the pages. Same CPS worker? Sarah pointed to a name that appeared on 17 of the 23 investigations. Monica Hendricks, Senior Supervisor. She closed every case involving Lakeside as unfounded. No merit, no cause for concern. How much you want to bet Harrison's paying her? I can't prove that. I can. Vincent looked at the assembled bikers. More kept arriving. The count was up to 47 motorcycles. My brother, lawman, used to be a federal prosecutor. Professor was FBI analyst. Doc Williams is a trauma surgeon. Torch does computer forensics. We've got resources. Legal ones. We're going to tear Harrison's operation apart brick by brick. And we're going to do it by the book, so airtight that even the best lawyer in Chicago can't protect him. Sarah believed him. There was something terrifying and reassuring about the cold precision in Vincent's voice. This wasn't revenge. This was justice, with overwhelming force behind it. The boy, Vincent said, his voice softening. Marcus. When he wakes up, he's going to be scared. He's going to think he's in trouble for breaking that car window, for being homeless, for existing. You make sure he knows he's not. You make sure he knows he did exactly the right thing. You make sure he knows he's got people now. He's going to need placement. CPS will get involved. Over my dead body does that kid go into the system that failed him. Vincent's voice went hard again. My daughter Isabella is a social worker. We've got the space. We fostered before. Marcus stays with us until we figure out permanent placement. And if he wants it, we'll make it permanent. Adoption. Full legal. Whatever it takes. You just met him. He's unconscious. You don't even know. I know he gave his only coat to save a stranger's child in -5-degree weather. I know he survived 31 months on the streets and still had enough humanity left to choose someone else's life over his own survival. That's all I need to know. The rest we'll figure out. Sarah looked at this massive biker, surrounded by his brothers, planning a military-style operation to save children. Everything she'd thought she knew about Hell's Angels rearranged itself in that moment. There's something else, she said. Marcus had a USB drive, hidden in his boot. He gave it to me before he lost consciousness. Asked me to keep it safe. Said it was evidence. Vincent's eyes sharpened. Evidence of what? He didn't say. Just that if anything happened to him, I should give it to the police. He was terrified someone would take it. You have it? Sarah pulled the small USB drive from her pocket. I haven't looked. HIPAA laws give it to me. I'll get it to the right people. Legal chain of custody. Everything documented. Sarah hesitated only a second, then handed it over. He trusted me with this. I'm trusting you. You won't regret it. Vincent pocketed the USB drive. His phone rang. He checked the caller ID, answered. Talk to me, lawman. Sarah watched his face change as he listened, watched anger bloom into something colder and more dangerous. You're sure? Vincent said into the phone. 89 ghost residents over 4 years? 6.3 million? He listened more. And you confirmed the life insurance angle? 14 deaths? His free hand clenched into a fist. Yeah, we're moving. Tonight. Get every brother who can ride. We're going to need everyone. He ended the call, looked at Sarah. That USB drive Marcus gave you? It's got 47 audio recordings. Harrison and his business partners discussing their operation, billing the state for kids who aren't there. 89 ghost residents over 4 years. $6.3 million. They're also talking about collecting life insurance on former residents who died after being discharged. 14 deaths. 14 kids who left Lakeside and ended up dead within months. Harrison collected on their policies. Sarah felt sick. That's murder. Maybe not legally, but morally. He's discharging vulnerable kids into situations where they can't survive, collecting their insurance when they die, and calling it good business. The motorcycles had stopped arriving. Sarah counted 180 bikes, 180 men in leather vests, standing in formation, waiting for orders from their president. Vincent walked to the center of the group, his voice carried without shouting. "Brothers, 3 hours ago, a 16-year-old homeless kid saved my granddaughter's life, gave her his only coat, carried her 8 blocks in lethal cold, nearly died doing it. That kid's name is Marcus Chen. He's inside this hospital fighting pneumonia and hypothermia because he chose a stranger's life over his own." The assembled bikers listened in absolute silence. Marcus was homeless because a man named Gerald Harrison expelled him from Lakeside Youth Services. Harrison claimed Marcus was violent. The truth is, Marcus was protecting younger kids from abuse. Harrison threw him out in the middle of winter 31 months ago. Marcus has been surviving on the streets since then. Vincent pulled out his phone, held up the USB drive. "This contains evidence of Harrison's operation. He's been billing the state for 89 kids who don't exist, 6.3 million in fraud over 4 years. He's also been collecting life insurance on 14 former residents who died after being discharged. 14 children, dead. Harrison profited from every death." The silence in the parking lot felt alive, dangerous. "We're going to bring him down," Vincent said. "Legal, by the book. No violence, no threats. Just evidence, documentation, witnesses. We're going to build a case so perfect that Harrison spends the rest of his life in federal prison. We're going to expose every person who helped him, every CPS worker who took bribes, every inspector who falsified reports, every person who looked the other way while children suffered." He paused, looked at each face in the assembled brotherhood. "We ride at dawn. Lakeside Youth Services, full operation. Professor, you coordinate evidence collection. Doc Williams, medical examinations of all current residents. Lawman, witness interviews. Torch, digital forensics. Everyone else, you're on documentation and security. We do this right. We do this legal. And we make damn sure no child ever suffers under Harrison again." 180 voices answered in unison. "Aye." Sarah watched them begin to organize, saw a professor pulling up building schematics on a laptop, saw Doc Williams coordinating with other medical professionals, saw a lawman on the phone with law enforcement contacts. This wasn't a gang. This was a precision operation run by men who'd served in military units, who'd learned discipline and brotherhood in combat, and who'd brought those skills home. She went back inside. Marcus was awake. Marcus's eyes opened to fluorescent lights and the smell of antiseptic. For 3 seconds, he didn't remember where he was. Then it all came back. The car, the little girl, the cold, running. "Easy." Dr. Mitchell's face appeared above him. "You're at Northwestern Memorial. You're safe." "Emma's safe. You saved her life." Marcus tried to sit up. Pain shot through his chest. His lungs felt like they were filled with broken glass. "Pneumonia," Sarah said gently, pushing him back down. "You need to stay still. Your core temperature dropped to 91 degrees. Another 10 minutes and you wouldn't have made it." "Emma." Marcus's voice was hoarse. "The little girl. She's really okay?" "She's perfect. Asking about you. Wants to see the coat boy." Sarah smiled. "Her grandfather wants to meet you too." Fear spiked through Marcus. He'd learned that when people in authority wanted to meet you, it usually meant trouble. Social workers, police, group home directors, they all wanted to meet you before they decided what to do with you. "I didn't steal anything," Marcus said quickly. "I broke the car window, but she was dying. I had to. I'll pay for it. I'll work. Marcus, Stop. Sarah's hand was on his shoulder, gentle but firm. You're not in trouble. Emma's grandfather is grateful. He wants to thank you. People like him don't thank people like me. The words came out bitter. 31 months on the streets had taught Marcus exactly where he stood in the world. Invisible at best, problem at worst. Sarah pulled up a chair, sat down so they were at eye level. What do you mean, people like him? Rich people, important people. I saw the way everyone jumped when he walked in. I heard them call him Reaper. He's Hell's Angels. He's got power. People like that don't help homeless kids. They just want us gone. Is that what happened at Lakeside? They wanted you gone? Marcus's jaw tightened. You know about Lakeside? I know you were expelled 31 months ago. I know Gerald Harrison claimed you were violent. I know that's not true. Sarah leaned forward. Marcus, I've been an ER doctor for 17 years. I've seen what real violence looks like. Your scars? Those aren't from fighting. Those are from being beaten. Someone hurt you, and then they blamed you for it. Tears burned Marcus's eyes. He blinked them back. Crying was weakness. Weakness got you hurt. There was this kid, Marcus said, his voice barely above a whisper. Jaden, 8 years old. He wet the bed because he was scared. Harrison's assistant director, Roger Vance, he locked Jaden in the basement overnight as punishment. No light, no bathroom, nothing. Jaden was screaming. I could hear him through the floor. Sarah's hand tightened on his shoulder. I went down there, broke the lock, got Jaden out. Vance came back, found us. He started hitting Jaden, said he'd teach him a lesson. I pushed Vance away, got Jaden behind me. Vance went crazy, started beating me instead. Marcus touched his ribs unconsciously. Security cameras saw me push Vance, saw me attack him. Harrison said I was violent, dangerous to other residents. Expelled me that night. Middle of January, 17 degrees outside. Did you tell anyone? CPS? The police? Marcus laughed, but there was no humor in it. I tried. Called the CPS hotline. They sent Monica Hendricks. She interviewed Harrison, interviewed Vance, believed them. Wrote in her report that I had severe behavioral issues and aggressive tendencies. Said my expulsion was justified. Case closed. Monica Hendricks. Sarah's voice went cold. She investigated 17 complaints about Lakeside. Closed every single one as unfounded. Because Harrison pays her. Marcus didn't phrase it as a question. He'd figured it out months ago. I watched them, saw them meet in Harrison's office, saw him hand her envelopes. Cash. Every month. $500. I recorded some of it on my phone before Harrison confiscated it. Sarah's eyes widened. You recorded Harrison paying off a CPS supervisor? I recorded everything I could. Conversations, meetings, Harrison bragging to his business partners about ghost residents, billing the state for kids who weren't there anymore. Making millions. Marcus's hand moved to his boot, found nothing. Panic hit. Where's my USB drive? It was in my boot. Where is it? I have it. Had it. I gave it to Vincent Rodriguez. You what? Marcus tried to sit up again, fought against Sarah's restraining hands. You gave my evidence to a Hell's Angels president? Do you know what he can do with that? He could destroy it, use it for blackmail. Harrison has connections. He could... Marcus, listen to me. Sarah's voice cut through his panic. Vincent Rodriguez is many things, but he's not corrupt. He's not working for Harrison. He's got resources you don't have, legal resources. He's already got people analyzing those recordings, building a case. By morning, Harrison's operation is going to be exposed. You don't understand. Marcus was shaking now, not from cold, from fear that had lived in him for 31 months. Harrison is connected. The mayor gave him an award last year. Community service, helping at-risk youth. He's got judges, politicians, business leaders. They all think he's a hero. Nobody's going to believe a homeless kid over him. They're going to believe 47 audio recordings of Harrison discussing fraud, embezzlement, and collecting life insurance on dead children. Marcus froze. How did you know about the life insurance? Vincent's people analyzed your recordings. They found everything. 89 ghost residents, 6.3 million in fraud, 14 former residents who died after Harrison discharged them, 14 life insurance policies Harrison collected on. The room spun. Marcus had known Harrison was bad, had known about the fraud. But 14 deaths? 14 kids who'd left Lakeside and ended up dead? I knew some of them, Marcus whispered. Destiny Martinez. She was 15. Harrison discharged her, said she was too difficult. She overdosed 3 months later. I saw her on the street 2 weeks before she died. She was so thin, so lost. I gave her my food. She was crying, said she couldn't do it anymore. I tried to help, but I didn't know how. His voice broke. And Tyler Washington, 12 years old. Harrison kicked him out in February. Tyler had asthma, needed an inhaler. Harrison wouldn't give it to him when he left, said it belonged to the facility. Tyler died in March. Asthma attack. No inhaler, no help. Sarah's eyes were wet. Marcus, those deaths weren't your fault. I survived. They didn't. I'm still here, and 14 kids are dead. How is that fair? It's not fair. None of this is fair. But you're alive for a reason. You saved Emma. You documented Harrison's crimes. You're going to help make sure no other child suffers what you and those 14 kids suffered. The door opened. Vincent Rodriguez walked in, and Marcus's instinct was to make himself smaller. Men that size, that powerful, they were dangerous. They hurt people. But Vincent didn't approach the bed, didn't crowd Marcus's space. He stopped 6 feet away, hands visible, body language careful. Marcus, Vincent said. I'm Reaper, Emma's grandfather. I owe you my granddaughter's life. Thank you. Marcus didn't know what to say. In 31 months, exactly 3 people had thanked him for anything. A woman whose dropped groceries he'd helped pick up, a man whose car tire he'd helped change, a little girl he'd given his last dollar to for bus fare. Nobody important had ever thanked him. She's okay? Marcus asked. She's perfect. Warm, safe, asking about you every 5 minutes. Vincent's expression softened. She wants to give you your coat back. Says you're cold and you need it. Something in Marcus's chest cracked. This 3-year-old who'd almost died remembered that he'd been cold, cared that he'd been cold. She can keep it, Marcus said. It was my dad's. He'd want her to have it. Vincent's eyes dropped to the dog tags on Marcus's chest. Your father was Army? Ranger. Died in Afghanistan, March 2021. I'm sorry. I served too. Marines. Different war. Same sacrifice. Vincent pulled up a chair, sat down slowly, non-threatening. Your father taught you well. Cold weather survival, how to recognize hypothermia, how to save a life. He taught me never to leave a fallen comrade. Marcus's hand touched the dog tags. Emma was fallen. I couldn't leave her. No, you couldn't. Vincent leaned forward slightly. Marcus, I'm going to be straight with you. Dr. Mitchell gave me your USB drive. My people have analyzed the recordings. We know what Harrison did. We know about the fraud, the ghost residence, the life insurance. We know he expelled you for protecting a younger child. We know Monica Hendricks took bribes to cover for him. Marcus's heart was pounding. What are you going to do? We're going to destroy him. Legal, by the book, every recording authenticated, every witness interviewed, every piece of evidence documented so carefully that Harrison can't buy his way out, can't lie his way out, can't do anything except face justice. Harrison has lawyers, good ones. He's got money. I've got 180 Hells Angels who just spent 3 hours organizing a military precision operation. We've got former FBI analysts, federal prosecutors, trauma surgeons, computer forensic specialists. We've got resources Harrison doesn't even know exist. And we've got something he can't buy. Vincent's voice went hard. We've got motivation. You saved my granddaughter. That makes you family. And nobody hurts our family. Marcus wanted to believe him, wanted it so badly it hurt. But 31 months had taught him that adults made promises they didn't keep, that help never came, that he was alone. Why? The word came out broken. Why do you care? You don't know me. I'm nobody. I'm just some homeless kid who— Stop! Vincent's voice cracked like a whip. Not angry, commanding. You are not nobody. You are Marcus Chen, son of Sergeant First Class David Chen. You survived 31 months on Chicago streets. You protected a younger child and got punished for it. You gave your only coat to a freezing stranger and nearly died doing it. You documented evidence of systemic abuse. You are not nobody. You're a hero. Heroes don't live in subway stations. Marcus's voice was bitter. Heroes live wherever they have to and do the right thing anyway. That's what makes them heroes. Vincent stood up, walked closer to the bed. I'm going to ask you something, and I need you to think carefully before you answer. Marcus tensed. Do you want justice? Vincent asked. Real justice. The kind that puts Harrison in federal prison. The kind that saves every child still trapped in his facility. The kind that makes sure no other kid gets thrown out in January cold and told they're worthless. Of course I want that. But wanting doesn't make it happen. It does if you're willing to fight for it. You've got the evidence. You've got the truth. We've got the resources and the expertise. But we need you. We need you to testify. Need you to tell your story. Need you to be brave. One more time. Marcus looked at Vincent Rodriguez, this massive Hells Angels president who'd lost nothing in this fight, except maybe time and resources. Who could walk away right now and his life wouldn't change. But who was standing in a hospital room at 1 a.m, asking a homeless teenager to trust him? If I testify, Marcus said slowly, Harrison will come after me. He'll dig up everything, make me look bad, say I'm lying, say I'm violent, say I'm everything he already said I was. Let him try. We'll bury him in evidence. But Marcus, I won't lie to you. This won't be easy. You'll have to face him, face Hendricks, face everyone who failed you. You'll have to tell your story to police, FBI, prosecutors, maybe a jury. You'll have to relive trauma you've been trying to survive. And if I say no? Vincent's expression didn't change. Then we use what we have and do our best. But it won't be enough. Harrison will hire expensive lawyers. They'll challenge the authenticity of the recordings. They'll claim entrapment or illegal surveillance. Without your testimony explaining how you got the recordings, why you got them, what you witnessed firsthand, the case gets weaker. He might walk, and every child in Lakeside stays trapped. Marcus thought about Jaden, locked in a basement, screaming. Thought about Destiny and Tyler and 12 other kids who died after Harrison decided they weren't profitable anymore. Thought about Emma Rodriguez, 3 years old, asking about the coat boy. "I'll do it," Marcus said. "I'll testify." Vincent exhaled. Relief crossed his face. "Thank you. But I need something first." "Name it." "Where do I go after this? After I testify, after the case, after everything? Where do I go? Because I can't go back to the streets. I can't survive another winter. I'm tired of being cold. I'm tired of being hungry. I'm tired of being invisible." Vincent pulled out his phone, made a call. "Isabella, I need you at Northwestern, now. Bring the paperwork." He listened. "Emergency foster placement, teenager. Yes, I know it's 1 a.m. This can't wait." He ended the call, looked at Marcus. "My daughter Isabella is a licensed social worker. She and her husband Michael have fostered 7 children in the last 4 years. 3 of them are permanent now, adopted, full legal. They've got space, they've got resources, and they've got hearts big enough to make room for one more." "You're saying they'll take me?" "I'm saying we're family now. Emma's family. My family. That means Isabella's family. You stay with them while we build the case against Harrison. After, if you want it, we make it permanent. Adoption, or legal guardianship until you're 18. Your choice." Marcus's throat closed. "Why would they want me? I'm broken. I've got nightmares. I can't sleep in closed rooms. I hoard food. I check locks 10 times before I can relax. I'm damaged. You're a survivor. There's a difference." Vincent's hand rested on the bed rail, close but not touching. "Marcus, I've seen broken. I've been broken. Afghanistan, Iraq, both my tours broke things in me that never fully healed. But broken doesn't mean worthless. It means you've been through hell and came out the other side. That takes strength most people don't have." The door opened again. A woman walked in, early 40s, dark hair pulled back in a ponytail, wearing jeans and a sweater. She looked tired, but her eyes were kind. She crossed straight to Vincent, hugged him. "Dad, what's going on? You said emergency placement?" Vincent gestured to Marcus. "Isabella, this is Marcus Chen. He saved Emma's life tonight. Gave her his coat. Carried her 8 blocks in lethal cold. Nearly died doing it." Isabella's hand flew to her mouth. "Oh my God, Emma is okay?" "She's perfect. Because of Marcus." Isabella turned to Marcus, and he saw tears in her eyes. "Thank you. Thank you so much. Emma is my whole world. You saved her." Marcus didn't know what to do with gratitude, didn't know how to process people crying over something he'd done. "I just did what anyone would do." "No," Isabella shook her head. "Most people would have walked past that car, would have told themselves it wasn't their problem. You broke a window. You gave up your only protection. You chose her life. That's not what anyone would do. That's what heroes do." "Your dad said the same thing. I'm not a hero. I'm just a kid who got lucky." "Lucky?" Isabella's voice rose slightly. "Marcus, you've been homeless for 31 months. You've survived 3 Chicago winters. You've got permanent frostbite damage, malnutrition, pneumonia, and scars from being beaten. Nothing about your life has been lucky, but you're still here, still choosing to help others, still protecting people even when you can barely protect yourself. That's not luck. That's character. Marcus felt the tears coming and couldn't stop them this time. "I'm so tired," he whispered. "I'm so tired of fighting, of surviving, of being alone." Isabella sat on the edge of the bed, took his hand. "Then stop being alone. Come stay with us. Michael and I have a 4-bedroom house in Lincoln Park. 2 of the bedrooms are occupied by our boys, Jake and Sam. Jake's 14, Sam's 11, both former foster kids, both adopted now. 3rd bedroom is our daughter Maya's. She's 6, also adopted. 4th bedroom is yours if you want it." "You don't even know me." "I know enough. You saved my niece. You protected younger children at Lakeside and got punished for it. You survived hell and kept your humanity. That's all I need to know." Isabella squeezed his hand. "Marcus, I'm not going to lie and say everything will be perfect. You'll have nightmares. So does Jake. He was in 3 foster homes before us. 2 were abusive. He still checks doors and windows at night. Still hoards food in his closet even though we've told him 100 times he doesn't have to." She smiled gently. "Sam has panic attacks. Loud noises trigger him. His biological father used to beat his mother. Sam tried to protect her, got hurt doing it. He's been with us 2 years and he's still healing. Maya came to us at 4 years old, nonverbal from trauma. Took 6 months before she'd speak. Another 8 before she'd let us hug her without flinching." Marcus listened, something shifting in his chest. "Broken is our normal," Isabella continued. "Healing is messy. It's not linear. Some days are good, some days are awful. But you don't do it alone. You do it with people who understand, who've been there, who won't give up on you when it gets hard." "What if I can't do it? What if I'm too broken?" "Then we help you carry it until you're strong enough to carry it yourself. That's what family does." Vincent's phone buzzed. He checked it, his expression hardening. "Lawman just confirmed. Monica Hendricks has taken bribes from 3 different facility directors, not just Harrison. She's been doing this for 6 years, closing legitimate abuse complaints in exchange for cash." Marcus's head snapped up. 3 facilities? How many kids?" Vincent's jaw tightened as he read the message. "Lawman's still counting, but preliminary numbers show at least 47 abuse complaints closed by Hendricks across 3 facilities in 6 years. 47 legitimate reports, all buried." "Oh my God," Isabella's voice shook. "How many children suffered because she took money to look the other way?" "We're going to find out." Vincent started typing on his phone. "Professor's pulling CPS records now. Every case Hendricks touched, every facility she investigated, every complaint she dismissed. By sunrise, we'll have a complete picture." Marcus's hands were shaking. "I tried to tell her. When she came to interview me after Harrison expelled me, I told her about Jaden being locked in the basement, about kids being starved, about Roger Vance beating children. She looked me right in the eye and said I was making it up to avoid consequences for my violent behavior." "She knew," Isabella said quietly. "She knew you were telling the truth, and she didn't care because Harrison was paying her." "How much?" Marcus asked. "How much was I worth? How much did Harrison pay her to ignore what he did to me?" Vincent checked his phone again. $500 a month, $6,000 a year. Hendricks made $36,000 over 6 years, looking the other way while children were abused. The number hung in the air. $36,000. The price of Marcus's suffering. The price of 47 other children's suffering. The price of 14 deaths. I want to see her arrested. Marcus's voice was cold now, anger replacing fear. I want to watch them put handcuffs on her. I want her to know that I didn't forget. That those 47 kids she failed didn't disappear just because she closed our files. You will, Vincent promised. FBI's moving on this at dawn. They'll arrest Harrison first, then Hendricks, then everyone else in the network. You'll get to see justice. Sarah stepped forward. Marcus needs rest. His body's been through trauma. He needs time to heal before— No, Marcus interrupted. I've had 31 months to rest in subway stations and abandoned buildings. I've had 31 months to heal while sleeping on concrete. I'm done resting. I'm done waiting. I want to help. Tell me what I can do. Vincent studied him for a long moment. You can start by telling me everything. Every detail about Lakeside. Every person who worked there. Every child you remember. Every time you witnessed abuse or neglect. Everything. That'll take hours. I've got hours. Isabella, you stay with him. Take notes. Get every detail. I need to coordinate with the teams. Vincent moved toward the door, paused. Marcus, what you're about to do, opening up about trauma, reliving it, it's going to hurt. But it's necessary. Can you handle it? Marcus thought about Jaden screaming in the basement, about Destiny crying 2 weeks before she died, about Tyler gasping for air without his inhaler, about 14 children who'd never get to tell their stories. I can handle it, he said. Vincent nodded once and left. Isabella pulled out her phone, opened a notes app, sat down next to Marcus's bed. Start from the beginning, she said gently. When did you first arrive at Lakeside? Marcus took a breath. April 17th, 2021, 3 weeks after my mom died. I was 13. The social worker, different one than Hendricks, she drove me there in the afternoon, told me it was temporary, that they'd find me a permanent placement soon. She was lying. She knew it was permanent. I could tell by the way she wouldn't look at me when she said it. What happened when you arrived? Harrison greeted us. Big smile, warm handshake. He did this whole tour, showed us the rec room with a pool table and TV, showed us the library with all these books, showed us the cafeteria. Everything looked good, clean, safe. The social worker left feeling good about placing me there. Marcus's hands clenched the blanket. The second her car pulled away, Harrison's face changed. Smile disappeared. He took me to the real sleeping quarters, not the nice room he'd shown the social worker. This was the boys' overflow dorm. 12 beds crammed into a room meant for 6. No privacy. 1 bathroom for 12 kids. Toilet didn't flush right. Shower had mold. Isabella was typing rapidly. How many children were at Lakeside when you arrived? Harrison claimed 43 to the state. Reality was 27. He was billing for 16 ghost residents even then. How did you figure that out? I counted. Every kid, every bed, every meal. The numbers didn't match what Harrison claimed in his reports. I saw the reports once when I was cleaning his office, part of my assigned chores. He left them on his desk. 43 residents. But I'd counted 27 kids. I started paying attention after that, started documenting. Isabella looked up from her phone. You documented before you were expelled? I documented everything, from the first week. Marcus's voice was matter-of-fact. My dad taught me. He said in the Army, documentation saves lives. You write down what you see, what you hear, dates, times, details. Because memory fails, but written records don't. What did you document? Food portions. Harrison was supposed to provide 3 meals a day, adequate nutrition, enough calories for growing kids. Breakfast was watered-down oatmeal, maybe a piece of fruit if we were lucky. Lunch was a sandwich, usually peanut butter, sometimes bologna if the state inspectors were coming. Dinner was whatever they could make cheapest, a lot of rice, a lot of beans, meat maybe twice a week. Marcus's voice was getting stronger as he talked. 31 months of silence, breaking. I documented that we were always hungry, that kids were losing weight, that some of the younger ones had symptoms of malnutrition, thin hair, brittle nails, constant fatigue. Did you tell anyone? I tried. Called the CPS hotline, anonymous tip. Said children at Lakeside weren't getting adequate food. They sent an inspector. Harrison knew they were coming. He always knew. Someone tipped him off. Maybe Hendricks, maybe someone else in the system. Marcus laughed bitterly. Day of the inspection, Harrison brought in catered food. Real food, fresh fruit, good meat. Made it look like we ate like that every day. Inspector came, saw the spread, talked to Harrison, filed a glowing report. Next day, we went back to watered-down oatmeal. Isabella's hands had stilled on her phone. How often did you call the hotline? 7 times. Over 18 months. 7 different complaints. Food, heat, medical neglect, physical abuse, inadequate supervision. Every time they sent an inspector. Every time Harrison put on a show. Every time the complaint was dismissed. You never gave up. I couldn't. Because every day I watched kids suffer, watched them get hurt, watched them lose hope. Marcus's voice cracked. There was this girl, Keisha, 11 years old. She got sick, fever, cough. Harrison wouldn't take her to a doctor, said it was just a cold, she'd get over it. Days passed. She got worse, couldn't breathe right. I begged Harrison to help her. He said I was being dramatic. Isabella had stopped taking notes. She was just listening now, tears in her eyes. I called 911 from a payphone outside the facility, told them a child needed medical help at Lakeside. Ambulance came. Took Keisha to the hospital. Pneumonia. If they'd waited another day, the doctor said she probably would have died. Marcus's hands were shaking. Harrison found out I called 911. Said I'd overreacted. Said I'd embarrassed the facility. Made me clean the bathrooms with a toothbrush for 2 weeks as punishment. Where is Keisha now? I don't know. Harrison transferred her to a different facility 2 weeks after she got out of the hospital. Said she needed specialized care. I think he just wanted her gone before she could tell anyone else how sick he'd let her get. Isabella wiped her eyes. Marcus, you saved her life. I should have saved more of them. Destiny, Tyler, the other 12. I should have done something. You did everything you could. You called the hotline 7 times. You documented abuse. You protected younger kids, even when it meant getting hurt yourself. You did everything right. The system failed. You didn't. Marcus wanted to believe her, wanted to accept that 14 deaths weren't his fault. But guilt was a heavy thing, and it had lived in him for 31 months. The door opened. Vincent came back in, his face grim. Professor just finished the preliminary analysis. Hendricks closed 63 abuse complaints over 6 years, not 47. 63. Across 5 different facilities, not 3, 5. Isabella stood up. 5 facilities? She was protecting 5 abusive operations? Looks like it. She took money from all of them. Total of $94,000 over 6 years. Marcus did the math in his head. That's about $1,500 a month. She was making more from bribes than from her actual salary. IRS is going to love that, Vincent said darkly. Tax evasion on top of everything else. She's going to federal prison for a long time. Good. Marcus's voice was hard. She deserves it. Vincent's phone rang. He answered, listened, his expression changing from grim to shocked. Say that again, slowly. He listened more, his free hand clenching into a fist. Are you absolutely sure? Triple-checked. Another pause. Send me everything. He ended the call, looked at Marcus. Torch just cracked Harrison's private server, the one he thought was encrypted and secure. Marcus, it's worse than we thought. Harrison wasn't just billing for ghost residents. He was selling children. The room went silent. Marcus couldn't process what he'd just heard. What do you mean, selling children? Isabella's voice was barely a whisper. Human trafficking. Not all of the discharged kids ended up dead or on the streets. Some of them disappeared completely. No records, no trail. Torch found emails between Harrison and 3 different buyers. The numbers were piling up like bodies. Did I know any of them? Marcus asked. The 17 who were sold? Vincent scrolled through his phone. I've got the names. Do you want me to read them? Yes. Vincent started reading. Jessica Martin, age 14, discharged March 2020. I knew her. Marcus's voice broke. She was nice, quiet. She helped the younger kids with homework. Harrison said she was being transferred to a facility in Wisconsin. Better programs. She was excited, said she'd write to us. She never made it to Wisconsin. Carlos Rodriguez, age 15, discharged July 2020. Marcus nodded. He wanted to be a chef, talked about it constantly. Harrison said he was going to a group home with culinary training. Carlos couldn't wait. He's listed as sold to an agricultural operation in downstate Illinois. Vincent continued reading. Each name was a knife. Each one was a child Marcus had known, had talked to, had tried to protect. By the time Vincent finished, Marcus was sobbing. I should have known, he gasped. I should have realized. They were too happy, too excited about their transfers. It didn't make sense. Harrison never did anything to help us. Why would he suddenly send kids to better placements? Because that's what predators do, Isabella said, pulling Marcus into a hug. They lie, they manipulate, they prey on hope. You couldn't have known. You were a child yourself. You were trying to survive. I could have asked more questions, could have demanded proof, could have— Marcus, stop. Vincent's voice cut through his spiral. You did ask questions. You documented everything. You called the hotline 7 times. You recorded Harrison's conversations. You gathered evidence that's going to save dozens of children and bring down a trafficking network. You did more than most adults would have done. You're not responsible for Harrison's crimes. Then why does it feel like I am? Because you're a good person who cares about others. Because you have empathy and conscience and all the things Harrison doesn't have. But feeling responsible doesn't make you responsible. The only person responsible for these crimes is Harrison and the people who helped him. Sarah came back in, carrying a tray with medication. Marcus, I need you to take these. Antibiotics for the pneumonia, pain medication for your ribs, something to help you sleep. I don't want to sleep. We need to keep working. You need to rest, Sarah said firmly. Your body has been through severe trauma. You're running on adrenaline right now. When it crashes, you're going to crash hard. Better to do it medicated and comfortable than fighting it. Marcus wanted to argue, but his body betrayed him. Exhaustion was creeping in at the edges. The warmth of the hospital room, the soft bed, the safety of having people around who actually cared. It was all combining to make him realize just how tired he was. "Okay," he said quietly, "but you wake me up before the arrests. I want to be awake when Harrison gets taken down." "Deal," Vincent said. "Arrests are scheduled for 0600, 5 hours from now. I'll make sure you're awake." Marcus took the pills Sarah offered, swallowed them with water. Within minutes, he could feel them working, the pain in his ribs dulling, the tightness in his chest easing, his eyelids getting heavy. "Isabella," he said, fighting to stay awake. "Your offer, the room, is it still available?" "Of course it is." "Can I really stay, even after all this? After you know everything that's wrong with me?" Isabella took his hand. "Marcus, there's nothing wrong with you. You've been hurt. You've been traumatized. You've survived things that would break most people, but that doesn't make you damaged goods. That makes you a survivor. And yes, the room is yours for as long as you need it. Permanently, if you want it." "I want it," Marcus whispered. "I'm so tired of being alone." "Then you're not alone anymore." Marcus's eyes closed. For the first time in 31 months, he fell asleep knowing he was safe, knowing people were protecting him, knowing he had a place to go when he woke up. Vincent waited until Marcus was fully asleep before speaking. "Doc, what's his prognosis?" Sarah checked Marcus's vitals on the monitor. "Physically, he'll recover. The pneumonia will respond to antibiotics. The malnutrition will improve with proper nutrition over time. The frostbite damage is permanent, but manageable. Psychologically?" She paused. "That's going to take years. He's got PTSD, probably severe. He'll need intensive therapy, trauma-informed care, patience." "He'll have it," Isabella said. "Whatever he needs, however long it takes." Vincent's phone buzzed again. He read the message, his expression darkening further. Lawmen found something else. Harrison's financial records show payments to 3 Cook County judges, monthly retainers, $3,500 a month each, for 6 years. "He was paying judges?" Sarah's voice rose. "To do what?" "Expedite adoptions, seal records, dismiss abuse cases if they made it to court. Harrison had judges on his payroll." Vincent was typing rapidly. "This goes higher than we thought. This isn't just one corrupt facility director. This is a network. CPS supervisors, judges, probably attorneys, probably state officials." Isabella looked sick. "How deep does this go?" "We're going to find out. Professors pulling every connection, every payment, every person Harrison ever did business with. By the time we're done, everyone involved is going down." Vincent looked at Marcus, sleeping peacefully for the first time in years. "This kid survived hell, saved my granddaughter. Documented evidence of the biggest child welfare corruption case Illinois has seen in decades. He's going to get justice. They all are. Every child Harrison hurt. Every child the system failed. They're all going to get justice." "Dad," Isabella said quietly, "what if this is bigger than we can handle? What if Harrison's connections go high enough that they can shut this down?" "They can try." Vincent's voice was steel. "But they're not dealing with some scared kid making allegations anymore. They're dealing with 180 Hell's Angels who've got resources, connections, and motivation. They're dealing with FBI agents who specialize in corruption and trafficking. They're dealing with media who'll eat this story alive. Harrison's network might be big, but we're bigger. And we're not backing down." He pulled out his phone, started making calls. "I need every brother with legal experience at Lakeside in 3 hours. I need every brother with medical training ready to examine residents. I need every brother with investigative experience ready to interview witnesses. And I need Professor to coordinate with FBI. This operation needs to be flawless. 2 floors down, Emma Rodriguez was still awake. Her mother had tried to get her to sleep, but Emma kept asking questions. "Where's Coat Boy?" "He's resting, baby. The doctors are helping him get better." "Is he warm now?" "Yes, sweetheart. He's very warm." "Can I see him?" "In the morning, when he wakes up." Emma thought about this. "Mama, why did Coat Boy give me his coat? He was so cold." Her mother's eyes filled with tears. "Because he's a very good person who wanted to keep you safe." "But he needed it too." "Yes, he did." "So he was brave?" "The bravest person I've ever heard of." Emma nodded seriously. "When I grow up, I want to be brave like Coat Boy." Her mother pulled her close. "I think Coat Boy would like that very much." In the hospital parking lot, 180 motorcycles sat in perfect formation. Their riders were inside, spread throughout the hospital, planning an operation that would change everything. Some were in conference rooms coordinating with FBI. Some were reviewing legal documents. Some were analyzing financial records. Some were preparing medical examination protocols. They worked through the night, methodical, precise, angry but controlled. These were men who'd served in combat, who'd learned discipline under fire, who'd come home and built brotherhood on principles of loyalty and protection. They'd dropped everything to help a child they'd never met, because their president asked, because a teenage boy had saved his granddaughter, because children needed protecting, and nobody else was doing it. By 3 a.m., they had a plan. By 4 a.m., they had 3 FBI units committed to the operation. By 5 a.m., they had warrants for Harrison, Hendricks, Roger Vance, 3 judges, 2 attorneys, and 4 other facility directors. At 5:45, Vincent walked back into Marcus's room. The boy was still sleeping. Vincent touched his shoulder gently. "Marcus, time to wake up." Marcus's eyes opened. For a split second, there was panic. Then he remembered where he was, who was with him, what was happening. "Is it time?" he asked. "It's time." Marcus sat up, ignoring the protest from his ribs. "I want to see it." "You can watch from here. FBI's setting up a live feed. You'll see everything." Sarah came in with a laptop, set it up on the bedside table, logged into a secure feed. The screen showed multiple camera angles: Lakeside Youth Services, Harrison's house, Hendrick's apartment, courthouses, law offices. At exactly 6 a.m., the raids began simultaneously. The first camera feed showed FBI agents approaching Harrison's house in suburban Evanston. Marcus's breathing quickened as he watched them surround the property. Vincent stood beside the bed, one hand on Marcus's shoulder. Steady. Grounding.
"Federal agents, open the door!"
The command echoed through the laptop speakers. Marcus watched Harrison appear in his doorway, wearing a silk bathrobe. Expensive. The kind that cost more than Marcus had spent on food in 6 months. Harrison's face went from confused to shocked to terrified in 3 seconds. "What is this about? I haven't done anything wrong. There must be some mistake." "Gerald Thomas Harrison, you're under arrest for wire fraud, human trafficking, conspiracy to commit fraud, child endangerment, and racketeering." The lead agent stepped forward with handcuffs. "You have the right to remain silent." Harrison's face went white. "Human trafficking? That's insane. I run a youth facility. I help children. This is a misunderstanding." "Tell it to the federal prosecutor." The agent turned Harrison around, cuffed him. "We've got 47 audio recordings of you discussing your operation.
We've got financial records showing ghost residents.
We've got evidence of 17 children sold. We've got everything, Mr. Harrison. Everything. Marcus watched Harrison's legs nearly give out, watched realization cross his face that his carefully constructed empire was collapsing, watched them lead him to a waiting car in handcuffs while neighbors came out to watch. "How does it feel?" Marcus whispered. "Being walked out in front of everyone. Being humiliated. Being powerless." Vincent's hand squeezed his shoulder. Justice. The second camera feed switched to Monica Hendricks' apartment building. She was already trying to leave, suitcase in hand, when agents blocked her path in the parking garage. "Going somewhere, Ms. Hendricks?" "I have a family emergency. I need to—" "The only emergency you have is federal prison." The agent moved closer. "Monica Hendricks, you're under arrest for accepting bribes, conspiracy to commit fraud, obstruction of justice, and corruption of public office." Hendricks dropped the suitcase. "I want my lawyer." "You'll get one, right after we search your apartment and seize your financial records." The agent cuffed her. $94,000 in bribes over 6 years. You sold out 63 children for $94,000. I've arrested murderers with more conscience than you. Those children were lying. They were troubled. They made things up. Marcus's hands clenched into fists. Isabella had appeared at some point, standing on his other side. She took his hand. "She still doesn't get it," Marcus said. "She still thinks we were the problem." "She'll have years in prison to figure it out," Vincent said. The third feed showed Lakeside Youth Services. 180 motorcycles surrounded the building. Not threatening, just present, witnessing. FBI agents and CPS workers were already inside, evacuating children. Marcus counted them as they came out, wrapped in blankets, confused, scared, some crying. 23 children total. 23 kids Harrison had been billing the state for. The difference between 23 and Harrison's claimed 43 was $16,000 a month in fraud. "Where are they taking them?" Marcus asked. "Emergency placements," Isabella said. "Pre-screened foster homes, medical examinations, proper care. They'll be okay." Marcus watched a little boy, maybe 7 years old, being carried out by a CPS worker. The boy was crying, asking for his things. The worker was trying to comfort him. "That was me," Marcus said quietly. 3 years ago. Being taken from my mom's apartment after she died. Crying, scared, not understanding why everything was changing. "But you survived," Isabella said. "And because you survived, because you documented everything, these 23 children are getting help. Real help, not Harrison's version of help." The fourth feed showed Roger Vance being arrested at his apartment. He fought, actually threw a punch at an agent. 3 agents tackled him, cuffed him face down on the floor. "Roger Vance, you're under arrest for child abuse, assault of a minor, conspiracy to commit fraud, and assaulting a federal officer." The lead agent hauled Vance to his feet. Blood dripped from Vance's nose where he'd hit the floor. "Add resisting arrest to the list." Marcus felt nothing watching Vance bleed. No satisfaction, no joy, just emptiness where anger used to be. This was the man who'd beaten him, who'd locked Jaden in the basement, who'd hurt so many children and called it discipline. "I did my job," Vance was shouting. "Those kids needed discipline. They needed to learn respect." "You're about to learn what happens when you abuse children," the agent said. "Federal prison, no parole. You'll be lucky if you survive your first year inside. Child abusers don't do well in general population." Vance's face went pale. Good. Let him be scared. Let him feel powerless. Let him understand what he'd made children feel. The fifth feed showed the first of 3 judges being arrested. Judge Martin Fletcher, 63 years old, 20-year veteran of Cook County Family Court. He was at his courthouse chambers when FBI arrived. "This is outrageous. I'm a sitting judge. You can't just—" "We can and we are. You accepted bribes totaling $42,000 over 6 years from Gerald Harrison. You expedited fraudulent adoptions. You sealed records to hide abuse. You dismissed legitimate child welfare cases. You betrayed every oath you took." "I want my attorney." "You'll need a good one. Public corruption charges carry mandatory minimums. You're looking at 10 years minimum, probably closer to 15 with your aggravating factors." Marcus watched the judge's face crumble. This was a man who'd decided the fate of hundreds of children over 20 years. How many of those decisions were bought? How many children had been placed in danger because Fletcher took money? Vincent's phone buzzed constantly. Updates from brothers on the ground, professor sending analysis, lawman coordinating with prosecutors, torch cataloging evidence. The operation was massive and moving with precision. "Marcus," Vincent said, reading a message. "Professor found something. 3 of the 17 trafficked children. They've been located. Alive." Marcus's head snapped up. "Who? Which ones?" "Jessica Martin, Carlos Rodriguez, and Mei Chen. FBI teams are moving to recover them right now. Illinois, Wisconsin, Indiana, simultaneous raids." "They're alive?" Marcus couldn't process it. "They've been gone for years. I thought—" "They're alive. Enslaved, abused, but alive. And they're about to be freed." Marcus started crying. Couldn't stop. 3 of them. 3 kids he'd known. 3 kids he'd thought were lost forever. About to be rescued. The laptop showed a new feed. FBI tactical team approaching a farm in rural Illinois, the location where Carlos Rodriguez had been sold. Marcus remembered Carlos talking about becoming a chef. Remembered his excitement when Harrison said he was being transferred to a facility with culinary training. "Federal agents, come out with your hands up!" The farmhouse door opened. A man in his 50s emerged, hands raised. Behind him, agents were already entering the property, searching. 2 minutes later, they brought out Carlos. Marcus barely recognized him. Carlos had been stocky, muscular at 15. The boy on screen was skeletal, bruised. His eyes were hollow, empty. 3 years of forced labor had taken everything from him. But he was alive. "Oh God," Isabella whispered. "What did they do to him?" "What they do to all slaves," Vincent said, his voice hard. "Broke him, used him, treated him like property. But he's out now. He's safe now." The feed switched to Wisconsin, a suburban house where Jessica Martin was being held as a domestic servant. When agents brought her out, Marcus saw she was pregnant. 15 when she'd been taken, 18 now. Pregnant. Her face was bruised. "She's just a child," Isabella said, her voice breaking. "She's carrying a baby, and she's just a child herself." Marcus couldn't speak, couldn't process what he was seeing. Jessica had been kind, had helped younger kids with homework, had trusted Harrison when he said he was sending her somewhere better. The third feed showed Mei Chen being recovered from a restaurant in Indiana. Kitchen staff. 12 when she'd been sold, 15 now. Her hands were scarred from burns. Her eyes were dead. 3 children. Recovered. Alive, but destroyed. And there were 14 more still missing. 14 more who'd been sold into slavery and hadn't been found yet. "We'll find them," Vincent said, reading Marcus's expression. FBI's got specialized teams. Now that we know about the trafficking network, they'll tear it apart. They'll find every child Harrison sold, however long it takes. And if they're dead? Marcus's voice was hollow. What if we're too late for the others? Then we make sure Harrison pays from murder, and we make sure his buyers pay too, and we make sure this never happens to another child. The hospital room door opened. Special Agent Marcus Stone walked in, the same FBI agent who'd arrested Harrison. He looked at Marcus, nodded respectfully. Mr. Chen, I wanted to meet you in person. Thank you for your courage. The evidence you gathered is the most comprehensive documentation of institutional abuse and trafficking I've seen in 23 years with the Bureau. Marcus didn't know what to say. An FBI agent was thanking him? Calling him Mr. Chen? Treating him like a person who mattered? I just recorded what I saw, Marcus said. You did more than that. You survived 31 months on the streets and kept detailed records. You protected younger children at personal cost. You risked your safety to expose corruption. Stone pulled up a chair. I need to prepare you for what comes next. This case is going to be massive. National media, congressional hearings, state investigations. You're going to be at the center of it. I don't want to be famous. I just want Harrison to pay. He will. But the case needs you. Your testimony, your recordings, your first-hand accounts. Without you, Harrison's lawyers will claim the recordings are fabricated, that the financial records are mistakes, that the missing children ran away. Your testimony makes it real, makes it undeniable. Marcus looked at Vincent, at Isabella, at Sarah. They were all watching him, waiting for him to decide. Will I have to face Harrison in court? Yes. You'll have to testify. He'll be there. His lawyers will cross-examine you. They'll try to discredit you, call you a liar, question your memory, suggest you fabricated evidence for attention or revenge. Let them try. Marcus's voice was steady now. I've got 47 recordings. I've got financial records. I've got medical records from this hospital showing 37 children from Lakeside admitted with signs of abuse. I've got witness statements from neighbors, former staff, other kids. Let Harrison's lawyers try to discredit all of that. Stone smiled. That's the spirit. But I need you to understand. This trial could take years. Harrison's lawyers will delay, file motions, appeal, drag it out. You'll be in legal limbo, testifying, re-testifying, depositions, interviews. It's going to consume your life. My life has been consumed by surviving Harrison's abuse for 3 years. I think I can handle consuming it with ending him. Stone nodded. Fair enough. I'll need you to come to FBI headquarters next week. Formal interview. We'll go through everything, every detail, every recording, every witness. Build the timeline. Make it airtight. I'll be there. Stone stood, shook Marcus's hand. You're a remarkable young man, Mr. Chen. Your father would be proud. After Stone left, Marcus looked at the laptop screen. The feeds were still showing arrests, more people being taken into custody. Harrison's attorney, 2 more facility directors, a state licensing official. The network was bigger than anyone had realized. How many people? Marcus asked. How many people knew what Harrison was doing and helped him? Vincent checked his phone. Current count is 37 arrests. More coming. Professors still tracing connections. 37 people. All of them knew children were being hurt. All of them chose money over protecting kids. That's why they're all going to prison, Vincent said. Every single one. Isabella's phone rang. She answered, listened, her face brightening. Really? That's wonderful. Yes, I'll tell him. She ended the call, turned to Marcus. That was Michael, my husband. He's got your room ready. Fresh paint, new furniture. He wants to know what color sheets you like. Marcus blinked. What color sheets? For your bed, in your room. Michael said you should get to choose. Blue, green, red, whatever you want. I get to choose? It's your room, Marcus. You get to make it yours. Marcus thought about the subway station where he'd slept for 31 months. Concrete floor, cardboard for cushioning, newspaper for warmth. No choices, no comfort, no safety. Blue, he said quietly, like my dad's uniform. Blue it is, Isabella smiled. Jake and Sam are excited to meet you. They've been texting me all morning asking when you're coming home. Home. Marcus tested the word. It felt foreign, dangerous, like something that could be taken away if he believed in it too much. Yes, home. 2847 North Sheffield Avenue, Lincoln Park. 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, full kitchen. Backyard, your address now. Marcus's throat closed up. What if I mess up? What if I'm too broken? What if... Then we help you heal. That's what families do. Isabella took his hand. Marcus, I'm not going to lie and say it'll be easy. You're going to have nightmares, panic attacks, days where you can't get out of bed, days where you're angry at everyone, days where you don't trust that we're real. That's okay. That's normal after what you've been through. We'll handle it together. Your boys, Jake and Sam, they won't want some messed up homeless kid living with them. Jake was homeless for 4 months before we fostered him. He lived in parks, ate from dumpsters, got beat up twice by other homeless people trying to take his stuff. He's going to understand you better than anyone. Isabella squeezed his hand. And Sam watched his father beat his mother unconscious when he was 6, tried to protect her, got his arm broken. He's got scars too. You'll fit right in with our collection of survivors. Vincent's phone rang. He stepped into the hallway to answer. When he came back, his face was grim. Professor found another connection. Harrison's trafficking network supplied children to 6 different operations across 4 states. Not just the 3 we knew about, 6. And they're still operating. Still holding children right now. How many children total? Marcus asked. Unknown, but FBI's estimated at least 43 based on financial records. 17 from Harrison, 26 from other facilities in the network. Marcus felt sick. 43 children enslaved. Because people like Harrison saw them as products instead of people. FBI's moving on all 6 locations today. By tonight, every child in that network will be recovered. Every operator will be arrested. Vincent's voice was steel. This ends today. All of it. The laptop showed another feed. FBI raiding a factory in Gary, Indiana. They brought out 8 children, ages ranging from maybe 10 to 16. All of them filthy, exhausted, scared. The youngest was crying. Marcus watched them being wrapped in blankets, put in ambulances, taken to safety. 8 more children who'd been enslaved. 8 more who were free now. This is because of you, Vincent said quietly. Every child being freed today, every arrest, every prosecution. It all started because you documented what you saw and had the courage to speak up. I just wanted Harrison to pay for what he did to Jaden, to me, to all of us. And now he is. But it's bigger than Harrison now. You've exposed a network, saved dozens of children, changed laws. Marcus, what you did is going to ripple out for years. Decades. This case is going to be studied, used as evidence for reform. Your recordings are going to be played in congressional hearings. Your testimony is going to change how we protect vulnerable children." Marcus didn't feel like a hero. He felt exhausted, overwhelmed, scared. But underneath all of that, there was something new, something he hadn't felt in 31 months. Hope. Sarah came back in with discharge papers. "Marcus, medically you're stable enough to leave, but you need to continue antibiotics for 2 weeks, physical therapy for your frostbite damage, and I'm recommending trauma therapy starting immediately." "I'll make sure he gets everything he needs," Isabella said. "Good." Sarah handed Marcus a business card. "This is Dr. Rachel Kim. She specializes in childhood trauma and PTSD. She's worked with trafficking survivors, abuse survivors, kids who've been through hell. I've already spoken with her. She's expecting your call." Marcus took the card. What if talking about it makes it worse? It might, at first. Trauma therapy is hard. You're going to relive things you'd rather forget. But Dr. Kim will teach you tools to process it, to carry it without it crushing you. Right now, you're surviving your trauma. Therapy will help you actually heal from it. Okay. Marcus pocketed the card. "I'll call her." Vincent checked his phone again. All raids are complete. 43 children recovered total, 52 arrests made. Every person in Harrison's network is in custody. It's over. "It's not over until they're convicted," Marcus said. "Fair point. But the operation is over. The network is dismantled. No more children are being sold. No more are being abused in Harrison's facilities. That's a win." Isabella helped Marcus stand. His legs were shaky. 36 hours in a hospital bed after years of sleeping rough had weakened him. But he managed. "Ready to go home?" she asked. Marcus looked around the hospital room, at the monitors, at the IV stand, at the bed where he'd been safe for 36 hours. Then he looked at Isabella, at Vincent, at Sarah, at people who'd chosen to help him when they didn't have to. "Yeah," he said. "I'm ready." They walked out together, through the ER, through the waiting room, out into the December morning that was still brutally cold, but felt different somehow. Less hostile, less dangerous. The parking lot still had 180 motorcycles arranged in formation. As Marcus emerged, every single rider stood, not saying anything, just standing, showing respect, showing solidarity. Vincent walked Marcus through the rows of bikes, introduced him to brothers, professor, lawman, Doc Williams, Torch, Gunner. 50 more names Marcus tried to remember. Each one shook his hand. Each one thanked him. Each one made it clear. Marcus was under their protection now. Nobody would hurt him again. Emma was there too, holding her mother's hand. When she saw Marcus, her face lit up. "Code Boy!" Marcus knelt down, eye level with her. "Hi, Emma. How are you feeling?" "I'm warm now, because of you." She held up the military jacket, way too big for her. "You can have it back." "Emma said it's yours." "You keep it. It looks better on you anyway." Emma hugged him. This tiny 3-year-old who'd almost died, throwing her arms around the teenager who'd saved her. Marcus hugged her back, careful of his sore ribs, and felt something break open in his chest. Something that had been frozen for 31 months. He was crying again. But this time it felt different. Not grief, not fear. Relief. Release. The beginning of healing. "Thank you for saving me," Emma whispered. "Thank you for giving me a reason to," Marcus whispered back. Isabella's car pulled up to a 3-story brownstone in Lincoln Park 40 minutes later. Marcus pressed his face against the window, taking in the neighborhood. Tree-lined streets, well-maintained homes. Nothing like the subway station or the alley behind Murphy's restaurant where he'd spent 31 months. "This is it," Isabella said, parking. "Home." The front door opened before they even got out of the car. Two boys spilled out onto the porch. The older one, Jake, was tall and lean with dark hair. The younger one, Sam, was smaller with light brown skin and cautious eyes that reminded Marcus of his own.
"Mom!" Jake called. "Is that him? Is that Marcus?"
Isabella smiled.
"Yes, be cool, Jake. Don't overwhelm him."
But Jake was already bounding down the steps. He stopped a few feet away, reading Marcus's body language, giving him space.
"Hey, I'm Jake, 14. Been with Isabella and Michael for 3 years. Before that, I was homeless too. 4 months in Humboldt Park."
Marcus studied him, saw the recognition in Jake's eyes, the understanding. 4 months is a long time.
Not as long as 31, but long enough to know what it's like.
Jake gestured to Sam.
"This is my brother, not by blood, by choice."
Sam approached more slowly.
"Hi, I'm 11. I've been here 2 years. Before that, I was in a bad place. But Isabella and Michael made it better. They will for you too."
Marcus wanted to believe them, but trust was a luxury he'd learned to live without. A man appeared in the doorway, tall, maybe 40, kind eyes behind glasses. "Marcus, I'm Michael. Welcome home. No pressure, no expectations, just safety." They walked inside. The house smelled like fresh paint and something baking. Marcus's stomach growled despite himself. He hadn't eaten real food in so long he'd almost forgotten what it felt like to be hungry for something other than survival. "Your room is upstairs," Isabella said. "Second door on the left. Blue sheets like you asked. Jake and Sam helped set it up." Marcus climbed the stairs slowly, his ribs still aching. The second door was open. He stepped inside and stopped. The room was bigger than anywhere he'd slept in 3 years. A real bed with blue sheets and a thick comforter. A desk, a lamp, a bookshelf already stocked with books. A closet with clothes, his size. New clothes with tags still on them. "We guessed your size," Michael said from the doorway. "If anything doesn't fit, we'll exchange it. No big deal." Marcus touched the comforter. Soft, clean, his. This is too much. It's what every kid deserves. Bed, clothes, food, safety. Basic things you should never have had to live without. Marcus sat on the bed. The mattress didn't creak, didn't smell like mold or urine or desperation. It was just a bed. A normal bed. But to Marcus, it felt like a miracle. "I don't know how to do this," he said quietly. "How to be normal. How to live in a house with a family. I've been surviving so long I forgot how to just exist." Michael sat in the desk chair. "Then we'll teach you. One day at a time, no rush. You want to eat meals with us? Great. You want to eat in your room? That's fine too. You want to talk? We're here. You want silence? We can give you that. This is your space, your rules, your timeline." "What if I have nightmares? What if I wake up screaming?" "Then we come check on you, make sure you're okay, remind you where you are. Jake has nightmares 3 times a week still. Sam has panic attacks when he hears yelling. Maya, our 6-year-old, she doesn't talk when she's scared, just goes silent. We're used to trauma responses here. Yours won't shock us." Downstairs, a timer went off. Isabella called up. "Dinner in 15 minutes. Marcus, you hungry?" Marcus was starving, but eating with the family at a table felt overwhelming. "Can I eat up here, just tonight?" "Of course," Michael said. "I'll bring you a plate." After Michael left, Marcus explored the room. The closet had jeans, shirts, sweaters, a winter coat.
Real winter coat. Not newspaper stuffed in boots. Not a jacket 4 sizes too big. An actual insulated coat that would keep him warm. He checked the pockets instinctively. Empty. No money, no weapons, no supplies. Because he didn't need to hide things anymore.
Didn't need to be ready to run at any moment. The concept felt foreign. There was a knock. Sam stood in the doorway holding a plate. "Mom said you wanted to eat up here. I brought it. Can I come in?" Marcus nodded. Sam entered, set the plate on the desk. Lasagna. Garlic bread. Salad. Real food. Hot food. More food on one plate than Marcus sometimes saw in a week on the streets. "It's a lot, I know," Sam said. "When I first got here, I couldn't eat that much either. My stomach had shrunk. Isabella said it's normal. You'll adjust." Marcus sat at the desk, picked up a fork. The lasagna was still steaming. He took a bite. The flavors exploded. Cheese, meat, tomato sauce. His eyes watered. "You okay?" Sam asked. "Yeah. Just been a while since I had real food." Sam nodded. "I get it. When I first came here, I cried eating spaghetti. Michael thought I hated it, but I was just overwhelmed that someone made me dinner, that I got to eat until I was full, that nobody was going to hit me for asking for seconds." Marcus took another bite. "Your dad, the one who hurt you and your mom. Where is he now?" "Prison. 7 years for domestic violence and child abuse. He's got 4 more years left. Sometimes I'm scared he'll get out and find us. But Isabella says we're safe, that he doesn't know where we live, that even if he found us, he'd have to go through Michael and Vincent and 180 Hell's Angels first." "Are you scared here, in this house?" "Sometimes. When I hear loud voices, even if they're not angry, my body reacts, goes into panic mode. But Isabella and Michael, they never yell, never raise their voices, never hit. 3 years in foster care before here, and those families yelled, slammed doors, threw things. This is the first place I've felt safe." Marcus ate slowly, listening. Sam sat on the floor, comfortable in the silence. "Jake said you were homeless," Marcus said. 4 months. "Yeah, his mom was an addict. Died from an overdose when he was 12. No other family. CPS placed him in a group home. The director was awful. Not as bad as your Harrison guy, but bad enough. Sold food meant for the kids. Kept the heat too low. Jake ran, lived in parks, under bridges. He survived winter in Chicago homeless at 12 years old." Marcus's chest tightened. "How did he end up here?" "Michael found him. Michael's a paramedic. Responded to a call about a sick kid in Humboldt Park. It was Jake. Pneumonia, dehydration, hypothermia. Michael brought him to the hospital, stayed with him, called Isabella. They fostered him as soon as he was discharged. That was 3 years ago. They adopted him last year." "So there's hope," Marcus said quietly. "For people like us." "There's always hope. You just have to find people who see you, who choose you. Isabella and Michael chose me. They chose Jake. They chose Maya. Now they're choosing you." After Sam left, Marcus finished the lasagna. Every bite felt like reclaiming something. Normalcy. Humanity. Hope. When he was done, he changed into the new clothes. Soft cotton t-shirt, sweatpants. They fit perfectly. He lay down on the bed, pulled the blue comforter over himself, and waited for the panic to hit. For the walls to close in. For the certainty that this was temporary, that he'd be back on the streets by morning. But it didn't come. Instead, exhaustion crashed over him. Real exhaustion, not survival exhaustion where you sleep with one eye open. Deep exhaustion where your body finally accepts safety. He was asleep in minutes. The nightmare came at 3 a.m. Marcus woke up screaming, fighting invisible hands, convinced he was back in Lakeside with Roger Vance looming over him. He fell out of bed, scrambled to the corner, pressed his back against the wall. The door opened. Light flooded in. Marcus's hands came up defensively. "Marcus, you're safe. You're in Lincoln Park. You're in our house. Nobody's hurting you." Michael's voice. Calm, non-threatening. He stayed in the doorway, didn't approach. Marcus's breathing slowed. He recognized the room, the blue sheets, the bookshelf. Not Lakeside. Safe. "I'm sorry," Marcus gasped. "I didn't mean to wake everyone." "You didn't, just me. Light sleeper, comes with being a paramedic. Jake's still asleep, Sam too. Isabella's downstairs making tea. You want some?" Marcus nodded, followed Michael down to the kitchen. Isabella was at the stove, heating water. She turned, smiled gently. "Rough night?" "Nightmare. About Vance, about Lakeside." "First night in a new place is always hardest. Your brain doesn't believe you're safe yet. Takes time." She poured tea, chamomile. "This helps, or doesn't, but it gives you something to hold, something warm." They sat at the kitchen table, 3 a.m., drinking tea, not talking about the nightmare unless Marcus wanted to. "Can I ask you something?" Marcus said after a while. "Anything. Why do you do this? Foster kids, adopt kids, take in broken teenagers in the middle of the night. You could have a normal life. No trauma, no nightmares, no complications." Isabella and Michael exchanged looks. Isabella spoke first. "My brother was in foster care 20 years ago. He was 12. Our parents died in a car accident. I was 19, not old enough to take custody. The state placed him with a foster family. They were supposed to protect him. Instead, they abused him. Physically, emotionally. He ran away after 6 months. I found him living on the street. Got custody, raised him. But those 6 months destroyed something in him. He struggled his whole life. Addiction, depression, suicide attempts. He died 3 years ago. Overdose." Marcus's throat tightened. "I'm sorry." "I couldn't save my brother, but I can save other kids like him. Kids the system failed. Kids who need someone to fight for them. So that's what Michael and I do. We fight. We foster. We adopt. We give kids what my brother should have had. Safety. Love. A chance." Michael added, "And honestly, these kids, Jake, Sam, Maya, now you're not burdens. You're blessings. You teach us about resilience, about courage, about surviving impossible things and still choosing kindness. You make us better people." "I don't feel like a blessing. I feel broken." "Broken and blessed aren't mutually exclusive," Isabella said. "You're both, and that's okay." They sat in comfortable silence until Marcus felt steady enough to try sleeping again. He went back to his room. This time he left the door cracked, let light from the hallway spill in, let himself believe he was safe. He slept until noon, woke to sunlight streaming through windows and the smell of bacon. He got dressed, went downstairs. Jake and Sam were at the table doing homework. Maya was coloring. Michael was cooking. "Morning," Jake said. "Or afternoon, whatever. You sleep okay after the nightmare?" Marcus appreciated the directness. No pretending it hadn't happened. "Better, after tea." "Isabella's tea fixes everything. I swear it's magic." Sam looked up from his math homework. Want to go to the library later? They've got a gaming section. We play Minecraft on Saturdays. I don't know how to play. Perfect, we'll teach you. It was such a normal invitation, such a normal Saturday activity. Marcus almost said no, almost retreated to his room, but something stopped him. Okay, he said. Yeah, I'll go. Sam grinned. Jake high-fived him. Maya offered him a purple crayon. Marcus took it, colored with her while Michael made breakfast. This was what normal looked like. Homework, bacon, Minecraft, coloring, family. Marcus could get used to this. Vincent called that afternoon. How's the first day? Weird, good weird. I had a nightmare. But Isabella and Michael handled it. Didn't freak out, didn't make me feel bad. Good. Listen, I need to tell you something. Harrison's attorney filed a motion to suppress your recordings, claims they were obtained illegally, that you violated wiretapping laws. Marcus's stomach dropped. Can they do that? Can they throw out the evidence? They can try, but Professor talked to the federal prosecutors. Illinois is a one-party consent state, meaning if you're part of a conversation, you can record it without the other person's knowledge. You were present for most of the recordings. The ones where you weren't, you were on Harrison's property with permission as a resident. The motion will fail. But what if it doesn't? What if they suppress the recordings and the whole case falls apart? We've got backup evidence, financial records, witness testimony, medical records. Even without the recordings, we've got enough to convict. But we're not losing the recordings. Trust the process. Marcus wanted to, but 31 months had taught him systems failed, courts failed, justice failed. When's the hearing on the motion? Next week. You don't have to be there, but you can be if you want. Show Harrison you're not scared of him. Marcus thought about it. I want to be there. Then we'll make it happen. The hearing was Tuesday morning, federal courthouse, downtown Chicago. Marcus wore clothes Michael had bought him. Dress pants, button-down shirt, tie. He looked like a different person than the homeless kid who'd collapsed at Northwestern Memorial 9 days ago. Vincent met him outside the courthouse. So did Isabella and Michael. So did 50 Hell's Angels in full dress uniforms. They weren't allowed in the courtroom, but they lined the hallway, silent, supportive, showing Marcus he wasn't alone. Inside, Harrison sat at the defense table with 3 attorneys, expensive suits, confident expressions. Harrison looked smaller than Marcus remembered, less powerful. Just a middle-aged man facing consequences. Their eyes met. Harrison's face hardened. Marcus stared back, didn't look away, didn't flinch. This man had hurt him, had hurt dozens of children. But Marcus wasn't scared anymore. The judge entered. Everyone stood. The hearing began. Harrison's lead attorney argued that the recordings violated privacy rights, that Marcus had no authority to record private conversations, that the evidence was tainted. The federal prosecutor countered, cited Illinois law, presented documentation that Marcus had been a legal resident of Lakeside with full access to common areas where conversations occurred, argued that Harrison had no expectation of privacy when discussing criminal activity on his own property. The judge listened, asked questions, reviewed case law. After 90 minutes, she made her ruling. Motion to suppress is denied. The recordings were obtained legally under Illinois one-party consent statutes. Mr. Chen had every right to document conversations he was part of or that occurred in his presence. The evidence stands. Harrison's face went white. His attorneys started whispering urgently. Marcus felt something release in his chest. The recordings would be used. Harrison couldn't hide behind legal technicalities. Furthermore, the judge continued, Given the nature of the charges and the evidence presented, I'm denying bail. Mr. Harrison will remain in federal custody pending trial. This trafficking network operated for years under his direction. He poses a flight risk and a danger to potential witnesses. Remand the defendant. Harrison stood shakily as marshals approached. He looked at Marcus one last time. No remorse, no apology. Just anger that he'd been caught. Marcus watched them lead Harrison away in handcuffs. Watched justice happen. Watched the man who'd destroyed so many lives face consequences. Outside the courtroom, media swarmed. Cameras, microphones, reporters shouting questions. Vincent and the Angels formed a protective barrier around Marcus.
Mr. Chen, how does it feel to see Harrison denied bail?
Marcus, what do you want to say to other children in abusive situations?
Marcus stopped. Vincent touched his arm. You don't have to talk to them. I want to. Vincent nodded, stepped back, let Marcus approach the microphones.
My name is Marcus Chen. I'm 16 years old. For 31 months, I was homeless because Gerald Harrison expelled me from his facility for protecting a younger child from abuse. I survived 3 Chicago winters on the streets. I documented Harrison's crimes because I knew nobody would believe a homeless kid without evidence. The reporters were silent now, recording. Marcus continued. Harrison trafficked 17 children. He embezzled over $6 million meant to feed and house vulnerable kids. He worked with corrupt CPS workers and judges to hide his crimes. 14 former residents died after he discharged them. 43 children were rescued from his trafficking network.
Marcus's voice got stronger. To any child watching this who's in an abusive situation, document everything. Tell someone. Keep telling until someone listens. You are not worthless. You are not disposable. You matter. Your voice matters. Your truth matters. He touched the dog tags under his shirt. My father taught me to never leave a fallen comrade. Every child in foster care, every homeless kid, every youth who's been failed by systems meant to protect them. You're not alone. There are people who will fight for you, who will believe you, who will stand with you. You just have to be brave enough to speak up. The reporters erupted with more questions, but Marcus was done. He turned, walked through the line of Hell's Angels, got into Isabella's car. The trial took 8 months. Marcus testified 3 times, faced Harrison's attorneys, answered their questions, stayed calm when they tried to discredit him. The recordings were played, financial records presented. 43 rescued children gave victim impact statements. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Guilty on all counts. Harrison was sentenced to 47 years in federal prison. No parole eligibility for 32 years. He'd be 87 before he could even apply for release. Monica Hendricks got 23 years. Roger Vance got 18. The 3 judges got sentences ranging from 12 to 17 years. 37 total convictions. 37 people who'd hurt children now facing justice. The Marcus Chen Child Protection Act passed Illinois legislature unanimously. Monthly facility inspections, quarterly audits, youth advocacy boards, anonymous hotlines, mandatory reporting, whistleblower protections. Within 2 years, 47 abusive facilities were shut down across Illinois. Hundreds of children were moved to safer placements. The law was adopted by 8 other states. Guardian Angels Initiative expanded to 12 states, helped over 1,800 children, shut down 34 trafficking operations, recovered 117 enslaved children, raised over $18 million for child welfare programs. Marcus graduated high school with honors, full scholarship to Northwestern University studying social work. He wanted to work in the system, fix it from inside, make sure no other child fell through the cracks. Isabella and Michael formally adopted him 6 months after Harrison's conviction. Marcus Chen became Marcus Chen Rodriguez, part of a family, permanently. On his 18th birthday, the Hells Angels gave him an honorary patch, not full membership, but protected family status. 180 brothers who'd stand with him forever. Emma Rodriguez, now 6 years old, stood at the ceremony. She'd kept Marcus's father's military jacket, wore it over her dress even though it still dragged on the ground.
You gave me your coat,
she said seriously.
You saved my life.
Now you're part of our family forever. Papa says that's how it works. You save someone, you become family. Marcus knelt down, hugged her. I think your papa's right. Vincent approached, carrying something wrapped in leather. Marcus, your father was a ranger, taught you honor, taught you to never leave a fallen comrade. You lived those lessons, even when it nearly killed you. This is for you. He unwrapped it, a custom motorcycle vest, Marcus's name embroidered across the back, protected by angels across the shoulders, and, at the center, his father's combat patch from Afghanistan. You're one of us now, Vincent said, not because you wear our colors, but because you embody what we stand for: protection, brotherhood, fighting for those who can't fight for themselves. Marcus put on the vest. It fit perfectly. He looked at the assembled angels, at Isabella and Michael and his siblings, at Emma, at the family he'd built from nothing. 3 years ago, he'd been homeless, invisible, convinced he was worthless. One choice to save a freezing child had changed everything, had exposed corruption, had dismantled a trafficking network, had saved hundreds of children, had changed laws, had proven that one person's courage could create ripples that became waves, that became tsunamis of justice. Thank you, Marcus said to Vincent, to everyone, for seeing me, for believing me, for standing with me, for teaching me that family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up when you need them most. He touched his father's patch on the vest. Dad, I hope I made you proud. I didn't leave them behind, the fallen comrades, the forgotten children. I fought for them, and I won. The angels raised their fists in solidarity. Emma clapped. Isabella cried happy tears. Michael put his arm around Marcus's shoulders. This was home. This was family. This was what happened when broken people chose to heal together instead of suffer alone. Marcus Chen had been invisible for 31 months, but he'd never been worthless. He'd never been disposable. He'd always mattered. It just took the right people to see it, and once they did, everything changed. Because that's what happens when you save a life, when you speak truth, when you refuse to let injustice win. You don't just change your own story, you change the world.